Rocky, according to my screen out here, we're recording on everything audio, all 4 cameras. Lights are all on. Looks good. Doors closed to the studio. You want the marker?
Action.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Streaming Without a Paddle. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew.
And I am the other part of this tag team, Ted.
Welcome to the show, and today Ted and I are going to be reviewing your Cordially Invited. This was on Prime, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
this was Prime.
Prime original.
This is a Prime. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember because I would think that my co-host would say this had the quality of a Netflix production.
Oh, for sure. This is like a Netflix banger right here. This is right up their alley. They're like, hey, can somebody punch up like a really terrible script and then we'll get it to 2 stars and pay them a lot of money?
Yeah, I was thinking of that if Cameron Diaz, if the reported 23.5 mil per on a 2-pitcher deal worth 47 mil was the case, I can't imagine what Will Ferrell and Miss Reese Witherspoon took home from this.
And clearly they were taking a paycheck.
A reported budget of the whole movie, and I'm just guessing this is below the line, was 30 mil. That was reported, and I can see that.
I can't see it having even barely 30 million.
Well, you know.
Like they were in one location.
Kind
Can
of.
you think how easy that shoot was? I bet it wasn't a month. I bet it was a month, maybe 5 weeks.
I'm not going to argue.
Because if you're in one spot and everybody's in 2 different hotels and your 2 stars are in their own little houses somewhere on an island, great, gravy.
This is another one of those shot in Georgia movies.
I hate to tell California this, but L.A. is Georgia now.
Let's talk about that real quick. So Sony is opening up a studio in Vegas.
Okay.
You heard about that?
Uh-huh.
Warner Brothers is opening up a studio in Vegas.
Okay.
And Universal is doing kind of a theme park thing there
in Vegas
with potential plans to expand. Now, Mark Wahlberg
moved to Vegas.
He's already living in Vegas. He has for a couple of years now. That's because he's working as some sort of special consultant, muckety-muck on the build-out of the Sony studios, which is in conjunction with the Howard Hughes Industries or whatever that organization's called. So you got 2 major studios building production facilities in Vegas. What does that tell you about LA?
Here's the hard truth that people that have stuck it out and love Los Angeles, and I love Los Angeles, and they have done their thing, it is over now. It's unfortunate and it's sad, but it's been over for 5 or 6 years.
Disney's going to be the only one left.
The only one. The lots, I mean, why would you shoot somewhere that costs 40% more than everywhere else?
Yeah,
I mean, Vegas, like besides the Strip, go 5 miles outside. There's nothing there. Build a studio.
This might put a whooping on Georgia.
Oh no! Marvel Studios is in Georgia.
Well, maybe that's Disney's out right there. That's right. I forgot.
Georgia is chock full of stuff.
Yeah,
they're good, but I just think you're looking at like California is so expensive to shoot in that like everybody's just leaving. It'll be weird because it'll be like a theme park kind of town.
Yeah.
In like 10 years, it'll just be like, hey, have you been to the world famous Comedy Store? And look over here. They're shooting The Price is Right with Andrew Santino or whatever comedian takes over for what's his name?
Drew Carey.
Loves fish, by the way.
All right, let's get back to this. You're Cordially Invited, starring Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon, Geraldine. Here, hold on. Listen very carefully, okay?
Geraldine Viswanathan.
Good for you.
Meredith Hagner, Jimmy Tatro. He's a TikTok guy. He's funny. He did this camp movie. about a theater camp, and he had to come in, and he was like a real bro-y guy. He was really funny.
Yeah, he was also in that that series, and I enjoyed it. With Topher Grace and Home Economics. That was it.
Yeah, he
was very, very good in that. So anyway, and who else? Who else is in here, Ted? Celia Weston's in it. Jack McBrayer.
Nick Jonas, Peyton Manning,
makes an appearance.
Rory Scovel.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead. He was the most underutilized, wasted talent on the whole thing. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, they didn't do much.
They should have written way more for his character than they did. All right, Ted, you want to break this down for our listeners, or
sure?
You want to give them an idea of this movie?
Two families from different areas are both getting married, and the only thing that they can think is to get married where one of the Reese Witherspoon and her southern sister and their family grew up with a grandmother that lived on some silly island in Georgia.
Yeah.
And Will Ferrell got married to his now deceased wife at this island in Georgia, and his daughter, the only place she could get married is on that island. So he calls to arrange for them to get married, and the lady who is signing them up is very old, and she dies mid-penmanship, and then they forget about it. And Reese Witherspoon calls the next day, and that lady's son, Jack McBrayer, writes them in. But then they all arrive to this little tiny island, and it's like, oh my gosh, we've double booked a wedding, and then hilarity ensues. Except it's not funny.
I was going to say that was definitely sarcasm.
It is not funny at all. It is a poorly written.
It's a comedy, but it's not a comedy.
It's not. It is. Reese Witherspoon is good, and Will Ferrell's good with what they give it. I mean, they're fine. They acted well. It's a bad script, and it's a boring sort of movie they've made 150 times. We watched this same movie last year on.
Well, we watched three.
Benjamin Bratt. Benjamin Bratt one.
Yeah, Mother of the Bride.
Yeah, that one.
We've watched three. We've watched and reviewed three wedding-based movies, and not one of them was stellar by any means. Now,
by far the best one was the one
Shotgun
with J-Lo.
Wedding. Yeah, right.
J-Lo and Josh Duhamel.
Yeah, Duhamel. If it weren't for him, that would have sucked too.
But he killed it.
He did.
He said, "Get on my shoulder, J-Lo. We're gonna run." Him and Lenny Kravitz.
Now, this movie was directed by Nicholas Stoller. He's a Harvard grad, wrote for the National Lampoon while he was there. He was taken under wing by all reports that I can figure. I could be wrong, but he was taken under wing by Judd Apatow, which, he's a brilliant comedic writer, director, producer. And Nicholas Stoller, he's been, all right, let me just run it off. He wrote Fun with Dick and Jane. He directed Forget Sarah Marshall. He wrote Yes Man. He wrote, produced, and directed Get Him to the Greek. And the Neighbors, Zoolander 2. The list goes on. This guy's full-fledged cred as a director. Now, he wrote, produced, and directed this picture. You know what? I couldn't help but after I watched this movie, because I had to obviously know who was in it because I watched it, but you have to look up who directed these things. And when I looked it up and I did my research on him, because directors typically aren't household names, I was blown away by what he had done. But it's kind of sad to say that, and I'll say it, it looks like the guy started way up at the top, and he has just progressively worked himself down when it comes to writing and producing and directing.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing I tell you. Eventually, we hit an age where we're not funny anymore.
He's 47.
He's 48.
48. What?
Yeah, he could have hit it. Sometimes you don't hit it till you're 55 or 60.
So,
sometimes you're George.
That's where I'm at. I'm on the brink right now, Ted.
But sometimes you're George Carlin and you don't ever hit it. You're just funny. But like other people hit it earlier. Like
Yeah.
if you look at his stuff, Fun with Dick and Jane, not good. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, amazing. Yes Man, average. Get Him to the Greek, pretty good. Gulliver's Travels, no one ever saw. The Muppets, good. 5 Year Engagement, nah. Muppets Most Wanted, I didn't see. Neighbors, amazing. Sex Tape, brr. Zoolander 2, brr. Neighbors 2, pretty good. Storks, I'm Not a Child. Captain Underpants, didn't see. Night School, Smallfoot, sounds good. Dora in the City of Lost Gold, didn't see it.
Dora the Explorer.
Yeah. DC League of Super Pets, actually pretty funny. Bros was really good. I mean, we're not like, oh, look at all these bangers. It's like every third one is pretty good.
I can't speak to a lot of them there, but the earlier stuff, Fun with Dick and Jane, I thought was good, which was Jim Carrey.
The Grinder was good.
What's her name? I can't ever pronounce her name.
Tia Leone.
Tia Leone. There you go. It's a noun. I'm a noun failure.
It's your yeah.
Anyway, all right. This and the reason I really wanted to look this up was because across the board, I thought all the performances were phoned in.
Yep.
I mean, it was like there was no Will Ferrell effort.
Nope.
And I don't know if maybe he's lost that comedic edge. Maybe he should, and I say this with the utmost respect of everything you've done prior to this movie, maybe it's time he take a look at doing drama.
He did. Remember that movie he did where he was an alcoholic, Everything Must Go?
Yeah.
That movie's great.
Yeah,
he was great in that movie.
Okay, maybe he should just, you're right. Thank you for reminding me of that. Just hang up the comedy, Will. Play.
That opening scene of them talking when, what's up? We baking cookies? Cookie, my sugar, whatever they were talking about. I was like, what is this stupid shit?
And then that goes to the fact how poorly this movie was written.
That's the main thing. It wasn't directed.
Man.
Wasn't directed poorly, and the performances were fine. It was written horribly.
And maybe that's why the performances came off poorly, was because they were acting based on a poorly written script.
I don't think she does a lot of improv.
You know her
what
being
I'm saying?
Reese?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't. She doesn't strike me as that kind of person, and so I can agree with that. But it was poorly written. Now I don't know if it was. Because it was so poorly written, you don't know if it was poorly directed, because there seemed to be a lot of voids in this movie.
Yeah.
In between scenes, and there were things that just didn't miss or didn't hit. A lot of things missed. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
That they just left it on the floor, and you were just like, oh yeah, now they'll figure it out. No, I'm being serious. But yeah, so it was not. It was not enjoyable. And here's the sad thing. It was almost 2 hours long.
Ooh, you felt it. I'll be honest. I'm going to be honest with people.
Please do.
Here. I told Andrew this, and this is the first time I'm going to say this. I fell asleep watching this movie with 15 minutes left. Stone cold sober. Sober as the day is long. I had not had one sip of anything, and I fell asleep. That is almost impossible. I've seen 1,000 million trillion movies, and I can count on one hand how many times I've fallen asleep.
It was not an easy watch. That's for sure. I was really disappointed. And here's the thing too. You ready? My wife and I we went out to dinner with a couple and another couple, and I said, hey, told my wife, I said, we're going out to dinner with them, and I need to watch that. Just dropped that day. You're cordially invited for the show. I said, instead of just dining and dashing with our friends here, why don't we invite them back and we'll all watch this movie together? I mean, it's Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell. It's got to be somewhat decent. I was really, really kind of embarrassed. I mean,
What did they think?
and I don't think they enjoyed it. I don't know how they could.
This movie legitimately made the Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz movie look like it should be nominated for awards.
Well, this one should be nominated for a Razzie.
Oh, for sure.
So,
And they weren't bad. They just didn't have anything to work with. I mean, it's an underdeveloped script.
I don't know. I don't know. I think on all levels. I felt that the performances were just mailed in, phoned in, emailed, texted. Is that what the kids will say today?
Yeah, probably.
Texted in. And there's no question that the script, to me, was horrible. Horrible. And again, because I don't know what they left on the floor in the edit bay, I don't know how the directing went. And it, who was it we were watching just a few weeks ago? So well directed. It was like a director's. I said it's like an actor's director. Why?
Oh, the guy from Iceland.
Well, yeah, okay.
Touch.
Well, Touch. Was it Touch?
Yeah, I don't remember his name because it's hard to pronounce.
Right.
But it was an actor's director.
He was. Thank you. And I just, I didn't get it here. I'm sorry. I don't want to say I'm caught up in the Blake Lively, Justin
Baldini or
Baldoni. He dropped all the correspondence. And see, I've been involved with a entertainment lawsuit before. Mm-hmm. So I was intrigued and to see what kind of potential discovery there was. And he dropped everything. He dropped the text and the emails and put them on the web, and everybody can go through and read it. And I understand you don't have to comment because I'm free and clear. There is little to no retribution that's coming back to me.
Yeah.
But I will say this: Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they better have some really good stuff, because the stuff that he posted, the conversations that he put there, and the way he handled it amongst his team was phenomenal. I mean, and it's powerful, powerful stuff. So I just want to say that. So I'm watching this movie on the heels of reading 168 pages of posted discovery from Justin. And again, I'm not taking sides here, but I am going to say my personal belief is that material is pretty damning.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it is.
Anyway, I think coming on the heels of this, it left me on the heels of that. This left me with a lot of questions from an editorial standpoint. What was left in the edit bay on the hard drive? Because this movie was just, I thought, horrible from every aspect.
He's doing a new movie with Zac Efron and Will Ferrell.
Animal House.
No, Animal Farm.
Animal Farm, yeah. George Orwell?
I don't think that's it. Well, they just announced it, so it might be that Animal Farm might be else.
Are you talking about Nicholas Stahl? Yeah, according to this, is Animal Farm, which is, George Orwell.
Yeah, that's not what these two are in. He's doing
right.
Animal Farm?
Animal Farm, yeah. Right, no. Animal Farm was written, is a novella from George Orwell, and you're absolutely right. I hope he has better luck. I hope I hope he has better vision for this next picture than he did with this.
Well, he's not directing it.
No, he's not. But
Andy
he
Serkis
wrote
is.
it. He wrote it, and let's be honest, a big part of this issues with this script was the writing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right, Ted, let's put some numbers on this.
5.
A 5.
A 5.
That's as low as you go.
That's as low as I go.
That's as low as Ted goes.
It's a movie.
It's a swing and a miss.
I would
according to Ted.
I would have less. I would give it more if I felt like it had any, like they had to really work to get through. Like if an indie movie, if you do an indie movie, you don't have any bells and whistles. It's just like you're doing it because you love it and you're barely getting paid.
Right.
This is like everybody doing it because they're getting paid.
well put.
And sometimes it's a job. Hey, I've done stuff I'm like, man, I don't like this. This is a job. Cool.
Yeah.
It's not always, oh, this is cool. But, and hats off, whatever. Reese Witherspoon, you're a great actress. Will Ferrell, you're a great actor. Everybody involved is great. It's just a poor script and it's not, you know.
I've appreciated both Will and Reese for their contributions and their skills and their abilities. But Reese will never be a Julia Roberts. She won't. She's
I guess
not.
you haven't seen Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, repeatedly.
I love that movie.
Repeatedly. And Will Ferrell is Will Ferrell. That's what you know. It's what you sign up and you get. Now, you know who I would like to see Will Ferrell do a movie with?
Who?
Dave Bautista.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
I think the two of them would have good chemistry together.
Yeah, he did well with Mark Wahlberg in that Wrong Guys movie.
Yeah, the other guy.
Other guy.
But I think he and Mark have done a couple of shows, movies together, haven't they? But it doesn't matter. All right, my number on this movie is a 4 out of 10. Now, these numbers that we're giving you is, 40 or a 10. You want a 2-digit and make it easier for it's a 4.1 out of a 10. To understand that. So, there you go. Don't watch it.
I wouldn't.
Don't waste your time.
I wouldn't.
This was not enjoyable. I mean, for something that's billed as a comedy.
It sure isn't.
Yeah. I thought there was a real, I just don't want to say that because it just popped in my head and I wanted to say it earlier. I thought there was a real disconnect getting back to the writing.
Yeah.
And I say that, but I might be wrong on this because of my age. By the way, Will Ferrell and I are the same age.
Oh.
Yeah, right? We were watching the movie and I was like, my God, Will's looking pretty old there. Right? And it was almost unbelievable that he was
your age?
Well, no, that he was playing, the father of a daughter getting married.
Except.
And then I looked it up, and he is exactly my age. Matter of fact, I think we're just really a month apart in age.
Well, you remember they kept calling him hair dye.
So
I love your hair dye job.
I said that out loud. I was like, oh my God, Will Ferrell and I are the same age. And I got an unsolicited immediate, which made me feel good. You look a lot better than he does.
So, it's funny when older people are like, let's just grow the beard out. And I'm like, well, it makes you look 15 to 20 years older.
Yeah, right.
Like if you're not young with like a dark beard, then yeah, it looks funny.
And Geraldine
Viswanathan.
I didn't think her and her wedding party, the young man who played opposite of her, the groom, I guess that's Stony something, Bliden,
Yeah, whatever.
That whole entourage, they acted so childish in this movie. I mean, they acted like they were 14-year-olds participating in a wedding at the highest level, being bridesmaids and groomsmen and bride and groom. Mm-hmm. That was horrible. And I lead that. I then cast that onto the director. You know, these kids are overplaying, and I say kids, 28 years old, Stoney. So, Geraldine, she's 29. So, you can't call them kids, but they did. They came across as like 14, 15-year-olds in this movie, which was just pathetic. I mean, it made me angry how bad they were acting as young adults, supposedly. All right. I just wanted to say that because it was really disappointing, and I don't think it was reflective of the kids today. So I think our 48-year-old director has a disconnect with what kids are, right? I mean, you look at this guy wrote for National Lampoon. I mean, this is the same organization that gave you and had the comedy bar set at Vacation, right? Chevy Chase, Michael Anthony Hall.
Anthony Michael
Hall. Got it all there, but in wrong order. Those kids those actors in that movie didn't come across as being juvenile delinquents. These kids did. Yeah. I mean, I forget her name. That
the bridesmaid.
Well, I know. I'm thinking of the movie Vacation.
Audrey.
And Audrey, but who was Randy Quaid's Eddie's daughter there?
Oh, the one that was
in the
first Vacation.
Yeah, in the first Vacation.
I don't know.
She's gone on to be huge.
Kim Cattrall wasn't.
No, well.
Are you looking up Vacation for this actress?
Well, I probably shouldn't. It's just a waste of time. But she's gone. She's gone. Anyway, the bottom line is, Ted, they did not act their age.
Well, no, because it's everything a kid. Are you talking about Dana Barron? Yeah,
the one that says my teacher says kissing.
Oh, hold up. Yes, that's not Dana Barron.
No, that
is Audrey, and she's also gone on to do a lot of stuff.
She went on to do 30 Rock, I think.
Cousin Vicky, Jan Krakowski.
Yeah, there you go. So, anyway. Whew. All right. Okay, Rocky. I hear you. And on that note, I want to say thank you for listening to Streaming Without a Paddle. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ted.
Don't watch this.
Nope.